Good afternoon. Welcome, and thank you for being with us today. My name is Leslie Frederoli, and I'm the Vice President of Engagement and Donor Stewardship. I'm also going to be your moderator for today. Over the next hour, we will be sharing with you a short video to thank our donors and our incredible volunteers. We will then talk to you about the understanding the needs of our community once COVID-19 hit Windsor-Essex. We're then going to explain to you the establishment of our COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. We will share with you how United Way responded to the food security concerns in our community and how we did that with a wonderful partnership with Green Shield Canada. We also will talk to you about the mental health needs of our community and how we're supporting isolated seniors and how United Way is providing youth support amongst COVID. We will then introduce you to two amazing On Track to Success students, and then we'll end our hour with time for questions. We did ask you to submit your questions in advance of today's town hall, but we also want to have the opportunity to address any new questions. So please use your chat box to ask any questions. If we don't have time to answer any of your questions, we will follow up with you personally after the event to answer those for you. We also want to let you know that today's session is being recorded and it will be shared widely with all of our donors. I'd like to introduce to you our panel for today's town hall. We have joining us Lorraine Goddard, CEO of United Way. We have Liam Giles Hayes, our Director of United Way Programs, and a very special guest with us today, Mila Lucio. Mila is a results-oriented and values-driven business leader with a career of progressive experience across various industries and numerous countries. In her current role as Executive Vice President, Human Resources and Social Impact for Green Shield Canada, she oversees the enterprise-wide strategy and direction for human resources and for social impact. Focuses on helping people achieve their full potential and focus on an evolving social impact strategy allows Green Shield Canada to fulfill their mission and purpose of helping people live their healthiest lives. Mila has her MBA and Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Windsor. She also has a certificate in Industrial Relations from Queen's University and is a graduate of the Advanced Program of Human Resource Management from Rotman at the University of Toronto. Mila believes in giving back to the community and stays active in numerous volunteer roles. She currently sits on the Windsor-Essex Chamber of Commerce and is incoming chair. She serves on the Board of Governors from St. Clair College, Board of Directors for the Windsor-Essex Community Health Care Centre. She was also on the Board of Directors and served as President for the Windsor chapter of the Human Resource Professional Association. She is a passionate mentor to young professionals growing in their careers, and she participates in 100 Women Who Care and is one of the founders of WOW Group, which is Women Helping Other Women. So please help us welcome Mila today as our special guest. I also want to share with you that this town hall is being shared on Facebook Live right now, so please feel free to share on your Facebook or Twitter about anything you learned today. Help us spread the great work that's happening in our community. Now I'd like to introduce our first video. This short video was made to highlight the incredible volunteers and donors who have shown their local love by supporting people in need during COVID. would now like to introduce Lorraine Goddard, CEO of United Way.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at our town hall today. What I'd like to do is kind of give you an overview of the work that United Way has been participating in to respond to the impacts of COVID-19 in Windsor and Essex. And so all of us have been impacted in a variety of ways. And when COVID-19 struck our community, it was very swift. And as we know, non-essential businesses were required to shut their doors, and everyone was required to practice social distancing. Within the first week of the shutting down of all businesses, we were informed that our food bank system had about 10 days of food left in the system, that many of the food donations had dried up, and many of the volunteers stopped attending the food banks because they were just uncertain about their own personal safety. And so we started to see food banks shuttering their doors across our region. So that was very concerning because we already knew that last year more than 26,000 people required emergency food assistance. And with so many people being laid off as a result of COVID-19, we were projecting that that would increase substantially. So we really had to respond very quickly. And I think all of us can recall in the early days of COVID-19, going to the grocery stores and seeing the shelves so empty. And so again, people were really thinking about their own family needs, and donations were just not being received. So what we did was, we pulled together a group of organizations, and we really said, how are we going to solve this problem? And we have to solve it quickly. And oftentimes when you have such a significant problem to solve, the planning time to respond to it can be long, but we knew that we needed to respond really, really quickly. So the We COVID Care Coalition was established, and we right away out of the gate did a survey of organizations to understand the immediate needs of organizations to be able to serve the vulnerable people that they do. And we learned that the first issue was our volunteers are no longer helping us. We're losing money or donations or food or whatever those supports are, and we don't have access to personal protective equipment. And so we really needed to address these immediate needs. And because emergency food banks were considered an essential service, we needed to be able to get these, or as many food banks or access to emergency food, up and running as quickly as possible. And so our coalition did come together, and I believe that we have about 23 or so members representing, the food bank associations, senior services, mental health services, our Windsor-Essex County Health Unit, and a variety of other organizations that said, you know what, we can come in, we can offer some support to make sure that the immediate and critical needs of some of our most vulnerable people in our community are helped. And so one of the second things that United Way did on behalf of our coalition was launched our COVID Care Fund, Response Community Fund. And to date, because of the ongoing generosity of our community, and we are known as one of the most generous communities in Canada, through our online giving, we have raised over $118,000. So for all of our donors out there, thank you so much. These dollars are really critically needed during these times. In addition, we have some really generous corporate partners who've also contributed. And here is a list. These are folks who have contributed more than $10,000 to help us with our community response plan. And you can see them there. So thank you to all of our corporate partners. We are grateful for your contribution. And when we add everything up, we have been able to raise in a very short period of time almost $500,000 that is going directly to help support critical emerging needs to support vulnerable populations during COVID-19. So thank you so much. So we wanted to also create, again, we know that our system is very fragmented, and we wanted to try to, during this time, to make it as easy as possible for people to get accurate information, to have access to supports that they need, and to be able to share information as well, or share their support. And so we established a Facebook page group. And to date, we have 665 members. And so that's a really great place to learn about what's happening, what's available in the community, or if you want to volunteer, you can put your name through there, and it's a great opportunity to really be able to coordinate and defragment our system. And you know, we've heard from so many people on that Facebook page, and I'd like to just share with you one of the posts, recent posts, and I know the print is quite small, so I'll actually read it to you, and it's from Nancy Shiner. And she says, "Thank you to all who are working hard to support our vulnerable populations during this time. Your support is so appreciated, and as someone who is benefiting from both grocery delivery and mental health support, I can tell you that this has been such a relief. I will have access to the necessary foods and support, and it has eased my anxiety as I socially isolate alone. Your work is noticed, it matters, and we are so grateful that you all came forward to work together to fill these needs. Much love to you all." So I think that really speaks to not only what many of our residents were feeling, but what the need was, and also how important it was that we came together as a collaborative community, all standing shoulder to shoulder to ensure that people had the supports they need. So in addition to you know, getting this committee set up, a community response plan was developed, and the first thing we wanted to do was address the emergency food needs. And so food hubs were established. We know that many of the food banks were closed because they didn't have volunteers, they didn't have protective equipment, or they just didn't have enough food. And we needed to ensure that people could access it safely. And so food hubs were established, and there are 4 area food hubs working across the region. And they are being coordinated by the Unemployed Help Center, which is the lead organization for the Windsor-Essex Food Bank Association. United Way has supported this association literally for decades now. And again, it's a coordinated approach to ensure that we can feed people who require emergency food assistance. So it is a drive-through model, as you can see. We worked with our partners, the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit. They developed a protocol of how we could, in fact, operate these food hubs, but also what do volunteers need in order to stay safe? So what kind of training, what kind of assessment do we have to undertake to make sure that we're not putting anyone who would be vulnerable to contracting COVID-19 in a situation that could cause them to catch it and become very, very ill. And so we really do appreciate our partnership with the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit. We also were successful in helping, along with partners across the country, to petition the federal government to increase supports to access and to get food. Because donations had literally almost stopped, we knew that we needed a lot of food to feed folks. So the federal government made an investment in not only the Canada Food Bank Association, but also Feed Ontario. And so that ensured that we had thousands of food hampers that would be coming through to our community that could be distributed through these food hubs. So the next thing, or not even the next thing, these were all done kind of in concert, was we established a Windsor-Essex food helpline, and that was started operating on April the 2nd. And this is a temporary helpline that is being run by Green Shield Canada, our partners and friends at Green Shield. And we knew, again, going back to some of our critical needs, we needed to ensure that we coordinated some of these supports and reduce fragmentation in the system. And so now anyone can call this helpline, this 188 number helpline, and they can learn about the different emergency food programs that are out there, when they're operating. If they can't leave their home, we can get things delivered to them. Do they need Meals on Wheels? Whatever it is that they need. And in addition, they're getting referred to other services, because as the great team at Green Shield is undertaking assessments as people call, they're redirecting them to the best support for the people who need this support. It's available 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And it is available in English and French. Other languages are accessible if people need them. And so again, we've had a great response in terms of our community partners who are helping with this, and you can see the list on that slide. And so I do want to acknowledge and thank all of our really fantastic partners, because again, none of us does any of this alone. We're all doing it together, standing shoulder to shoulder. Our food helpline has engaged 90 volunteers. And I'm going to let our guest speaker, Mila, speak a little bit more about that. And United Way has been leading the way in terms of the recruitment of volunteers and the training and placement of volunteers. And so in addition, we have other partners who have stepped up in different ways. And I would like to acknowledge our Windsor-Essex County Children's Aid Society. They themselves have literally an army of volunteer drivers. They leverage those drivers, and they're going out every day and either delivering grocery cards or food hampers or helping with Meals on Wheels, whatever it is, helping at the food hubs to ensure that our most vulnerable are not going hungry. So I really want to give a shout out to Children's Aid. The Unemployed Help Center, South Essex Community Council, they've been very instrumental in making sure that in our 2 regions, out in the county in South Essex and in the city and the surrounding areas, that access to emergency food and other supports is happening. And the City of Windsor, you know, they leveraged many of their workforce to help out with getting food out to people and other ways. So we're really appreciative of our friends at CUPE as well, and the City of Windsor for allowing that. And I can't forget to acknowledge 211. 211 is a number that you can call and get information about any service you need, whether it's government, health, any kind of social supports. And they've been tremendous in working with us through this. So I'd like to take a pause here and have you view our next video, which really gives you a glimpse into what those food hubs are like and the fantastic volunteers that are helping us out.
Just at our East End hub, we've experienced over 86% increase from the year prior. That's representing almost 5,000 households. So it's a lot of people in comparison to the same time last year.
A phone call earlier this morning, somebody new, never used a food bank, really expressed that he has nothing at home, and due to this pandemic, he's in a crisis. So we're here to help them. So it's a great opportunity for everybody.
As of now, we have 4 hubs that are running on a weekly basis. We have one in the West End of Windsor. We also have one at the Unemployed Help Center on the East End of Windsor. We have one in Leamington, and we have one in Bell River.
We have our canned goods, pasta sauce, canned vegetables, And then we have a loaf of bread, some nice vegetables and fruit.
We are supporting anyone who needs it right now. We've seen, as I said, people access our food bank that haven't been here before. We've had small business owners that have been hit hard. Not only do they have mortgages, but they have rents for their building. They have supplies and stock that they're paying on. We don't turn anybody away. Anybody who comes to us, we're assisting. People who are waiting in line for hours to access food aren't in line because they want to be. It's because they need to be.
CAS, Children's Aid, has partnered with the United Way and the Unemployment Help Center, and we are delivering food to people that are basically have health or transportation limitations. They are so appreciative when we drop it off. It's unbelievable. The joy on their faces, and they can't thank us enough whenever we drop something off. They are so appreciative.
I see quite a few people that are either elder or young families. I remember this one, it was actually my first delivery, a young mom with her 2 little kids. They were so happy to see me. And I had looked at my basket and I says, uh-oh, wheat bread. I'm not sure if the kids like wheat bread. I still have some white bread. Would you like me to exchange that? And she goes, at this point, hon, she goes, we're just so happy to get some food in our shelves. So that brought a lot of joy, and I knew I was doing the right thing from that moment on. They just can't thank you enough when you deliver it to them. They're also, wondering when will the next food basket come our way? And I says, if all you need to do is just give a call. If you're really desperate and you don't have anything to eat, please give us a call. We'll be glad to deliver again.
Obviously, when we first opened up, they were lined out to the road, and it's been a steady flow of people coming through. I mean, we're fortunate enough that we can do this for people and help them out. But the reality is, in today's day and age, it's unfortunate that people are, living below the poverty line, and people are struggling. And this is just an opportunity to be able to make sure that people have, some extra food for 7 days.
And without the community, which includes the coalition, what United Way brought together, all these organizations, as well as Feed Ontario, who has supplied us with the hampers that we're able to give out through these hubs, and our community as a whole, the donations that have come in to assist us. Without those, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We wouldn't be able to have these 4 hubs. We wouldn't be able to give out food as frequently as we're giving it, and as much as we're giving. And that's really helping people and families sustain through this very difficult time.
So you can see by that video, there's a lot of people who are needing emergency food assistance, and that there is literally an army of volunteers who are generously giving of their time to ensure that no one goes hungry in our community. I do want to acknowledge that there's also been a tremendous investment in grocery gift cards to support families as well. And that was very prevalent at the beginning before we were getting food through the national and provincial food associations. And again, through the generosity of our donors and corporate partners, we were able to make sure that happens. And we continue to add grocery gift cards, particularly to boxes where there are children at home and are hungry. So, again, we do this together with our partners, our volunteers. We have over 100 additional, 125 volunteers in addition to Green Shield. And we're all standing shoulder to shoulder. We're solving problems, we're meeting critical needs, and we're working differently. And so I'd like to take this time now to introduce Mila and to have her share just how Green Shield, as usual, steps up to the plate and is helping our community in a very real way. So thank you, Mila.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Lorraine. And before I start, really, on behalf of the community, I want to thank you and your team and all of the other volunteers and donors that are stepping up at this time. As you've said, I think Windsor's always demonstrated that spirit of doing it together and helping those in need. And I think this is another great example of that. And also thank you for inviting us to share how Green Shield is working with United Way and other community partners as we collectively find our way through this very difficult COVID period. And so to tell you a little bit about us, I think everyone probably knows that Windsor is GSC's hometown, and we've been part of this local community since 1957. And given that our purpose is to make it easier for people to live their healthiest lives, and our mission is to deliver meaningful solutions to improve health and well-being, we felt that we had an important role to play in supporting all the communities across Canada during this COVID pandemic. And then given our long-standing partnership with the United Way locally, we were pleased to be able to partner with them again in a very different way than what we've normally done over the years that would continue to support the immediate needs of our community at very much a grassroots level. And so, as Lorraine has already shared, in partnership with the Windsor-Essex COVID Care Coalition, we have helped to set up the Windsor-Essex Food Helpline to really help the vulnerable populations in the community access emergency food support. And so I think this was a beautiful example of partnership in action. What we were able to do is leverage United Way's expertise in community engagement with our contact center technology and our awesome team there. And together we were able to co-develop a community solution and stand that helpline up in record time. And so when you take a look at some of the stats that are on this slide, really showing you how many people we've been able to engage in this activity with more than, about 34 of our call center agents actually trained up to support the call line. And where initially we were answering more than 200 calls per day, right now it's leveling off to about 80 to 90. But in total, we've already taken more than 3,700 calls since the program launched. So again, really continuing to support our local community and those that are in need. And so I think it's obvious that it's definitely a support to our community, but what I think also is important to recognize is it's really been a win-win for our company and specifically for the folks that have been involved in this initiative in working differently with the United Way on the helpline. Our employees, you know, when we said that this is something that we wanted to do and we asked for those that might be interested in volunteering, we had so many people raise their hands. And so our employees themselves have received a lot of value and reward from having the opportunity to help the community and to help individuals that are actually calling in on the lines. And so what I'm sharing on the screen right now, I won't read through each one of them, but just a sampling of some of the comments that are coming from our team and how pleased they feel to be able to do at least some small part to help the community through this current crisis. And then we know with the feel good that our contact center agents have been feeling, what we also have been getting is feedback from the callers that are calling into the line. And, you know, given that our call center agents have had many years of experience in supporting plan members and providing excellent customer service, we knew that they would be well equipped to support the callers coming into the line. So the response and the feedback from some of those folks that have been calling in have again made us feel like we really are making a difference in people's lives during this period. So I'm going to say again, a very much a win-win-win, probably for everyone in the community, for the United Way Coalition, as well as for our folks at Green Shield. And so maybe just to share with you a little bit more about the work that Green Shield is doing across Canada. And, you know, once again, leadership and passion to help people stay safe and healthy is in our DNA. And so we really wanted to make sure that we were leveraging our community partnerships across Canada to support communities in total at the grassroots level. So we're proud to be supporting 14 communities and partnering with 13 community foundations and 2 United Way chapters in order to find our way through this period. We've made financial contributions to emergency relief funds, and we've partnered on specific initiatives like the one that we just shared with you here locally. And so when I think about Windsor-Essex specifically, again, we say that we value and love all of our communities equally, but we do know we have a special place in our hearts for Windsor-Essex because it is our hometown. And so we were pleased to be able to provide $250,000 in support to our local area. $100,000 went out in emergency relief funding, and that was split between the United Way and the COVID Community Response Coalition and the Windsor-Essex Community Foundation's Emergency Response Fund for all of the good work that both those organizations are doing. And then $150,000 in in-kind support for the other work that we've been doing as well. And then finally, the last slide or last thing I want to leave you with is, in addition to the work that we've done to provide the financial support and the in-kind support, something that continues to be top of mind for us is the mental health of all of our communities across Canada during this difficult time. We know that already mental health issues were climbing, and certainly during this period it's heightened the issues that people may be experiencing. And so we wanted to be able to provide support for improving mental health during this period. And working with our partner Beacon, we're providing sponsorship of the free digital health program called Stronger Minds by our partner. And so it launched on April 6th, and it's a free digital program which provides crucial mental health support for all Canadians at no cost. And what it's doing is leveraging online modules, videos, and quick tips. So I really encourage all of you to visit the site or recommend it to those that you think might be able to benefit with it. And we'll share the website link after the event as well. So in closing, I just wanted to share that our company and our employees feel so grateful to be able to support our communities across Canada during these difficult times. And we'll continue to monitor the COVID situation and continue to engage in discussions wherever we can to help further the health and well-being of this community and of all Canadians.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you for sharing that. And, I just really want to thank you and your amazing team that have been operating the call, the Contact the Helpline. I know that our team from the coalition, who've worked very closely with your team, just constantly express just how professional they are, how wonderful they are to work with, and the quality of service that they're providing to residents who are really in need. So thank you, and thank you to your team. Fantastic work.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you for sharing about Beacon and Stronger Minds, because that does kind of segue into the rest of our community plan. And as we all can imagine or are experiencing ourselves, being socially isolated, being laid off, experiencing financial challenges, can lead to mental health challenges. And, we have been investing in mental health for a very long time, but most of our mental health services needed to be adapted and needed to be expanded to be able to meet existing needs. And so we were able to build out a plan that provided free 24/7 counseling virtually in multiple languages. And so anyone can call day or night and speak to a trained professional to get some support. And that's really for the mild or moderately mental illness or challenges. Those that might be more serious are referred on to our other partner, which is Canadian Mental Health. And I can tell you that within the first day of launching this helpline, this mental health line, we had 2 people who were suicidal. Both of them are good today. One had to be taken by ambulance. So it really shows you some of the real critical needs in our community. So we're going to do a little poll right now and try to engage you a little bit in the conversation. So can you tell us how many people have called the Windsor-Essex Counseling Support Line since it launched? 112, 333, or 590 callers? Okay, I think we'll end the polling, and it looks like all of you thought 590, and actually 333 people have called the helpline. So you know, this is, I think, indicative of what the challenges are. But I can say to you that as we need to continue to social distance, to you know, not be able to go back to work, not be able to resume our kind of regular lifestyle, we anticipate that mental health will continue to be a growing challenge, that it's not going away anytime soon. So, you know, Green Shield makes significant investments in mental health, and so there is lots of support out there. So we really want to encourage you or your family or your friends to reach out if you need that help. So in addition to mental health, we recognize that seniors were particularly vulnerable during this time. We know that if they contract COVID-19, they generally become quite ill. And so protecting them during social distancing became really important. And so we were able to, through a grant through the federal government, the New Horizons program for seniors, we were able to secure $105,000 that is supporting a variety of organizations to establish a seniors call assurance program. So any senior or caregiver can call that number. They're assessed in terms of their needs. And then we do either a daily call check-in, it could be, you know, 3 times a week, whatever the needs are. But what we want to make sure is that we're calling seniors if they need any other support, they're getting access to it, or if they just need to chat and have a friendly conversation, we can also do that as well. The Alzheimer's Society is leading the intake on this, and we have a number of partners, which you can see on the slide there. And I can tell you that if you do call into the helpline, you're assessed, and then the call would be handed off to one of the partners depending on your geographic location of where you live. So we're really proud that that was able to get launched very quickly. And then finally, we also needed to adapt our program to support our young people. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because I am going to hand it over to Liam in a minute. But I do want to also share with you very briefly that you probably have heard about the federal government's announcement of the Emergency Community Support Fund. $350 million have been allocated to support vulnerable populations who have been impacted by COVID-19 across the country. In our community, both United Way and Windsor-Essex Community Foundation have been allocated some of these funds, and we're presently both taking applications for these dollars, and our job is to get them out really quickly in the community. So if anyone in the audience is part of an organization and you feel that you need some support to be able to either maintain or adapt your services to support your populations that you serve, please go to our website and fill out that application. So I'm going to now take this time and hand it over to Liam Giles-Hayes, our Director of Programs at United Way.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Lorraine. So exactly like everyone else, immediately once schools were shut down, our program team really had to spring into action quickly to ensure that families in our community were supported. We initially called and surveyed all families to see what their immediate needs were, and many parents we work with either had their hours significantly reduced at work or were unfortunately laid off. So already living paycheck to paycheck, this put a massive strain and stress on families. The first week, our team delivered food baskets and grocery gift cards to ensure that families were not stressed about having food in their fridge. We then ensured families signed up for all government support programs. And finally, we ensured that children had technology so that they could log on to their online learning portals to keep up with their schoolwork. In addition to these immediate concerns, families shared fears of family conflict and tension increasing in their home. They also noted that their children were feeling bored and more isolated, and that many of their kids who are in high school were concerned about graduation and how this would affect their plans for post-secondary. This is why our programs adapted all the supports that we provided pre-COVID to an online format, which I'll describe in the following slides here. So starting on April 8th, we launched our online platform for students in our On Track to Success program. The platform offers a daily social activity, which includes live science experiments, cooking demonstrations, and learning how to grow their own food. All of the supplies needed for these activities were sent out to students in advance so that there were no barriers for them to participate. Every Wednesday, we've actually partnered with Maryvale for a workshop we've called Wellness Wednesdays. Through this interactive group, kids talk about all the things that stress them out, how to deal with their anxiety during this time, and practice effective coping strategies, and really talk about setting up a good sleep routine, which if you have any teenagers at home, you know how important that is. When it comes to our career navigation component, we have continued exposing On Track to Success students to careers in our community. The focus of these interactive workshops have been on how organizations have adapted their work to help people during this time. Presenters have included the Faculty of Engineering, Unifor Local 200 and Ford Canada, and Valiant. This year we have 55 students graduating our high school program through On Track. And prior to COVID-19, we ran a really robust post-secondary transition program, which we have continued to provide virtually. The focus has been on accepting post-secondary offers of admissions, applying for scholarships and bursaries, and finally starting their application for OSAP funding. We know it's a stressful time for kids who are about to graduate, and so our goal is that they don't get discouraged and continue on the plans that they had for next year. In addition to these supports that we have also launched, we have launched an online tutoring platform with our other community partners. Serving children in grades 1 through 12, students have access to specialized tutors for up to 8 hours per week. I would like to thank and acknowledge the Faculty of Education at the University of Windsor, who directed many of their recent graduates to become volunteers with our platform. In total, over 30 volunteers provided tutoring on a weekly basis. This platform is now available to children involved with Advocating Young Minds, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Windsor-Essex, South Essex Community Council, and Windsor-Essex Children's Aid Society. We obviously have a lot of things to be proud of during this time, and our team has really dug deep, been flexible and creative and thinking of new ideas. But more importantly, we're just so proud of the students that we work with on a daily basis and how they've continued on their journey, focusing on education and their future. And I'm just really excited today. We actually have two students who have joined us on this call. We have Isabel and Brooklyn here. Hi, ladies. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. Awesome. Thanks again.
How are you?
Good. Thanks again for joining us. Brooklyn, I thought I'd start with you here. Do you mind just sharing with everyone how you've been doing these past few weeks and how you have found the online programming?
Sure. So basically, the past few weeks, I've been feeling more motivated thanks to tutoring. I've been getting a lot of my work done. I've been just having an amazing time with tutoring. The online program has really helped me since for the first month I was very unmotivated of doing anything. I'm really glad this has happened, and I'm glad that I can be in the program.
Oh, thanks, Brooklyn. I think we've all felt that, at times like that, right? It is hard to maintain that motivation. You've done a great job. Brooklyn, you're involved actually with United Way in many different ways. You're actually a member of our West Windsor Can Table through the Prosper Us initiative, and you get to see what United Way is doing on a regular basis in your community and how it's supporting people around you. Could you maybe just share a little bit how it's impacting your community and how it's impacted you personally?
Yeah, well, being in the Can community, it's been really amazing. I got to meet a lot of people and see how a lot of things have happened and how many people are in poverty. And I love helping people, and I just want to get them out and just be able to have a good, happy life. I myself am, so I want to help others and be able to just be able to help and make sure everyone's all nice and safe and happy.
That's great. Yeah, Brooklyn, you become such a great leader and helping so many others. It's great to see. Obviously glad you've found the support helpful over the years. Maybe you can just share everyone what is your plan for next year for school?
My plan for next year for school is going to St. Clair College for graphic design. I've been very inspired with drawing and just designing. It's also one of my coping skills for having my mental illness. So it's been a really good impact for me.
That's great. I know you had to put quite the portfolio together, and Aaron on our team is helping you with that. So congratulations again. We're so happy for you, and can't wait to hear the updates when you go to college in September.
Thank you.
Izzy, I'm going to turn it over to you. You've also been in the program for 4 years. How's the last 4 years been like for you?
The beginning was kind of difficult because I had to meet a lot of new people. I wasn't used to new experiences yet, but over like the last couple of years, like starting grade 10, I started to get used to meeting new people, getting new experiences, and I actually enjoyed it. So it's been pretty good.
That's great. And I know, Izzy, this past Christmas, I got to do a special delivery to your house. Do you mind sharing with everyone?
Yes, at the moment, my mother was struggling with the rent, whether or not we got to move or anything. And then we received an envelope and a card, and it had like about $500 worth of gift cards in it. And my mom really appreciated it. She was overjoyed. So we really thank the Farrell family for that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it was a great time, and so happy that we were able to support you. Now, Izzy, I know you're really excited about next year. Can you share with everyone what your plans are?
I'm going to St. Clair College for the social services program, and I'm really excited to meet new people and get new experiences and just help out with the community.
Awesome. You're going to do great. I have no doubt about that. Thank you again for the two of you for joining us today. We're so excited about your future and how proud you've worked over the last years. Oh, sorry, no problem. So this year we are reimagining our summer lunch program, where in the past we provide fresh daily lunches for over 1,000 children in our community. So we're working with our school board partners to make sure that kids are fed this summer. So stay tuned for more updates about that. And if you're looking at keeping up to date on the impact of your donations, you can visit weareunited.com/impact, or you can sign up to receive updates on our main page. We will also be sending out our annual report in July, so be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to throw back the presentation to Leslie. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Liam, and thank you, Brooklyn and Izzy. It is wonderful that you were with us today, but I just want to say on behalf of everyone, we're really proud of you ladies. You're strong, smart ladies, and you've accomplished so much over the last 4 years. So congratulations to both of you. We are excited to hear about all the new successes you're going to have come September. So it is actually now time for our Q&A, as we talked about at the beginning. So just a quick reminder, if you do have a question, to please add it in your chat box. And I do want to remind everyone our session is going to be completed at 12:30. So if we don't have time to answer those questions, as I mentioned earlier, we will follow up with you personally to ensure that we give you the information that you need. But we do have a few questions that came in ahead of time. So the first one is actually for Lorraine. Lorraine, what will United Way be supporting this fall? And what is the impact of COVID-19 on your organization and the Cradle to Career strategy?
Well, we will continue to support the COVID-19 community response plan for as long as it is needed. And we are going to continue to advance our Cradle to Career vision. And on behalf of Prosper Us, which is a collective of over 50 partners representing both the private sector, government, not-for-profits. So we are going to continue to do that. Obviously, some of our greatest challenges are how do we adapt the way we work to respect social distancing. And so we are modifying the way we work, our strategy a little bit to be able to still achieve impacts and to support community residents during this time.
Thank you. The next question is also for you. How is United Way continuing to manage support agreements and Cradle to Career commitments at this time?
So as with most charities, we too have felt the loss of some revenue due to donations slowing down, receiving of pledges. So we are really monitoring that. We do have the COVID response Fund, which I explained to all of our guests today. So that is being held to support all of those critical services during COVID-19. We also have the government fund that is going to be allocated, over the next 2 months. So we're going to be able to hopefully stabilize the really needed services. In terms of our Cradle to Career, we are continuing to invest in dollars. Our Prosperous partners, many of them have already contributed to support that work. So again, we will be able to continue that work, but at a little bit slower pace, only because social distancing, certain things we just really can't do at this time. So, we are, monitoring everything. We are committed to continuing to ensure that some of our most vulnerable people in our community are being supported during this time.
Thank you, Lorraine. The third question is also for you. Is United Way helping all the communities of any race, gender, faith, and religion?
Yes, that's one of United Way's values and requirements for funding, is that you cannot refuse service to anyone based on gender, orientation, race, religion. So yes, everything that we support is open to every member of our resident, and that is baked right into our values organizationally and is a requirement of anyone who would be receiving United Way funding. So absolutely.
Thank you, Lorraine. I will just encourage, if anyone does have any other questions, to please, we still have a few minutes, but as we allow you time to maybe type in some questions, I will just share some of our items that we kind of want to leave you with before everyone goes on with their wonderful Friday. So I do first obviously want to thank Lorraine and our panelists, but we also want to share with you some great information. So we included all of our links. We want to share where you can get help, where you can get more information, or if you're interested in donating. So please consider sharing these with your friends, your families, your colleagues. The more people in our community that are aware of these wonderful resources, the better we all are. I also want to mention a really great promotion that we actually have happening right now. And I haven't bought mine yet, but I'm going to be buying mine at the end of this. But we have a wonderful partnership with Tourism Windsor-Essex Pelee Island and the City of Windsor and the company BB Branded. These wonderful t-shirts that will look fantastic on everyone. If you purchase one of these t-shirts, $5 of every sale will go towards the United Way COVID Emergency Response Fund. So please consider making a purchase of this t-shirt and consider, again, sharing the information so that everyone knows that they're available. I've already been seeing a lot of great pics on Twitter, so we know that people are buying them. So let's make sure that we sell out of these wonderful t-shirts. And now I would like to take the time to thank our wonderful guests today. I want to thank each one of you, Lorraine, Liam, Brooklyn, Izzy, and Mila. Thank you for being here today. And I honestly want to say thank you for making a difference in the lives of people living in Windsor-Essex. I want to thank each of you for always willing to contribute and step up when needed. It's important that we're all taking care of our most vulnerable in the community and that they have the supports they need during this very challenging time. And it's because of a caring community such as you and every one of our donors that are in the audience. That's how we're able to respond. Windsor-Essex does not get beat down. We stand up, we come together, and we support one another. So thank you to everyone today. Thank you for being here, and thank you to our panelists for sharing the great information. And then just one last ask I have of all of you that are here. We do want to get your feedback, so we will be following up with a very brief survey, 10 quick little questions. It'll take less than 5 minutes. If you can just give us your feedback on how we can improve. This was our first town hall for United Way. So we want to know, did it work for you? Would you like more? Or is there other information that you would like to hear about and receive? So please consider giving us your opinion on that. I just want to thank everyone for all that you do, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.